Hello and welcome to Sorry if I spit when I speak. We are going to talk about the middle rounds and then the late rounds, players who the Bengals are looking at, potential sleepers, and guys that we like, basically, or positions that we like later in the draft. So, John, I want to start with you with the early middle rounds. Let's say the third round, fourth round. What are you looking at? What kind of guys are you looking at, or what do you think about the guys the Bengals have looked at?
I think when you get to the third round, you're either looking at a second pass rusher that would be according to their plan, or you start dipping into the skill position players. And the guy that I really want either in that third or fourth round range is Josh Reynolds. And when you watch him play, I mean, I'm just going to go with the Bengals comparisons because this is the Bengals show. But, I mean, you see a lot of Chris Henry in there. He's a very long strider. He has long speed, which means he builds up as he tracks the ball with his second gear. And because he has such long legs, he doesn't have a great top-end speed. He only ran like a 4.53. But cornerbacks have a very tough time keeping up with 9 routes because he's just so long. He just covers so much ground in such little time. He's got great ball skills. He's got great size. Right. And I think that he's a better route runner than what is being led on.
Look, he's got the Texas thing going. Dalton's got the Texas thing going. He's got the lengthy frame. He's got the very good deep speed. He could become a star because of his occasionally dominant catch point. But look, John, this is the elephant, shall we say, in the room, okay? This man needs to gain muscle before he can be a threat in the National Football League. He's got to be more physical. This is a guy who ran around corners in college, but that's not going to happen in the NFL. The level is so much higher. He hasn't seen a lot of route variety. I'm a little bit hesitant about Josh Reynolds. I mean, he's a little bit hesitant about the guy.
Yeah, I actually like to go with the skill position as well in the middle rounds. And there's 2 guys specifically with the skills that I like a lot. And one is the Joe Mixon that is going to build up a whole bunch of controversy. But I really, really like him, and there's no reason why we shouldn't get him, to me, if he's available in these mid rounds. I'm talking about 3 to 4 round range. Who he reminds me of a lot is Tevin Coleman. I think athletically and build, he's up there with the best of the best. And with that Tevin Coleman comparison, Tevin and Devontae Freeman were one of the best duos of the running backs last year, and I think that could be similar with a Gio and Joe Mixon duo.
Yeah, I see where you're going there, Jordan. I like the way you're feeling it out. You're using the intuition, which is great. But look, here's a guy, okay, who would have been one of the best running back prospects. I would say comparable to Ezekiel Elliott. But and you're right. I mean, he sounds a little bit like Jeremy Hill. He's not a great pass blocker. It's a little bit underdeveloped. He's fluid in space. He's a smooth pass catcher, and we love the dinky dunk short passes with the Bengals offense. All this is true, but look, here's the problem. Okay, this is a man who in 2014 he punched his girlfriend. He showed no remorse for the incident. It was recorded on camera. The question is, can the Bengals afford more risky personalities on their team? And my personal opinion is that was the problem in the postseason, was that we had these rough and tumble, dangerous guys, and they don't listen to authority, and it can't work out well in those situations.
Yeah, and I get that a lot, and I think that's how a lot of people are going to be. But us Bengals, we've had the reputation of being the thugs for a while now, and maybe I think it's time to own it. Wow. And we can start that with
John.
The Joe Mixon.
I like that. I like that. You just changed my mind. I really think we could be good thugs. I think we could be the orange and black and something scarier than Halloween.
Back in January, I'm on the record as saying if they kept Adam Jones, it would be hard for me to remain as a Bengals fan, because if I were to remain being a Bengal fan and Adam Jones is still on the team, I would feel like a hypocrite, because if he was a Steeler or if he was a Brown or if he was a Raven, I would make fun of them for keeping a player like him. And I know Adam Jones and Joe Mixon are 2 different type of people, but you see a guy like Mixon with his track record, I don't see it stopping anytime soon. I just think that's basically who the person he is. Now, I think if you put him in an NFL type environment where he can be more controlled, if you can get him a good relationship with the coaching staff, if you can basically do your best to try to change kind of who he is in a morality sense, I think that would be good. But it would take a while to wrap my head around not only keeping Adam Jones, but adding Joe Mixon to the locker room the same offseason where they let a guy like Andrew Whitworth leave.
Now, I'm all for, innocent until proven guilty, but with Adam
But the
Jones...
camera, Daddy, the camera. And here's the thing, man. You can tell a lot about a man by the way he treats his lady. I have had that. How many wives have I had? I don't even know, like 14 something. I never laid a finger on them. Never laid a finger on them. If I had a problem with any of my wives, I always just, we would try to talk it out, or I would ignore them for a long period of time and move without telling them. But I never, ever laid a finger. And you can tell a lot because the lady or whoever's in your house, that's the person you see all the time. So this is a character issue. A man who beats up his girlfriend is not going to be a guy, who can get the team going in a good, wholesome way.
John, but another guy, I know you're interested in edge rushers, and so I want to know what you think of Devontae Fields, who we could very well get in the middle rounds.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch Fields with a 50-foot stick. I mean, he transferred from TCU to Louisville because of character issues, and then honestly, his Louisville film was very less than desirable, and then he tested basically like a defensive tackle. So I don't see any redeeming qualities with bringing in Devontae Fields besides production in film that was 2 to 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe take a flyer as an undrafted guy, maybe see if you can strike gold.
Right.
But I don't think there's any value with Fields, especially in the middle rounds.
No, I mean, the character issues are probably too much to ignore, but it's interesting, that the Bengals had a private workout with him.
Oh my gosh. Because I mean, it's like, okay, so Devontae Fields, right? He's a fast edge rusher, fine. But this is another guy who punched his ex-girlfriend. He threatened her with a gun. Why must the Bengals be, the place where all these guys with character issues go? Why? I'll tell you why. Because they're cheap, man. And that's the problem. And I realize Marvin Lewis is a genius. He can do a lot with some troubled souls. But it comes out, and it comes out at the wrong time. It comes out at the most dangerous time. Okay. And the glue of the team. That's why, they're not a disciplined team. The Bengals are not a disciplined team. They make stupid mistakes because it's the collection of personalities, right?
All right, Haji, we gotta move on. Okay, so we're going to get to the late rounds and draft wrap up right after this. You're listening to Sorry If I Spit When I Speak.
I gave you my